Okay, so we start off this entire defense of the Indianapolis Colts all time with Dwight Freeney. Defensive end Dwight Freeney has been wreaking havoc for this defense for a very, very long time. You're looking at him being a part of the Peyton Manning era teams, so he was a part of there for a very long time. Um, I'm pretty sure he is retired, but he spent some time in other teams before he retired, and just he is a future Hall of Famer. He's eclipsed over 100 sacks in his career, definitely over 110. So you can see, yes, he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for what he's done overall for the Colts. He's a guy that's a multiple, double-digit sack guy that can get there. He's a guy that's able to as well show up in the playoffs and do well, wreak some havoc as well. It's definitely, in my opinion, key to have Dwight Freeney in this D line, and having him on this D line, it's already expansive. It already expands your entire pretty much defense to be really this kind of Super Bowl championship defense. If you want to win the Super Bowl for this all-time Colt team, they have a good shot at winning it. I believe every single all-time team has a shot, in their own way, but Colts, I think the way they'll win is offense, yes, but I think defense is very key. They're going to need to stop guys, and Dwight Freeney, it's a good start to their entire defense. Now, right next to Dwight Freeney, you're going to have a guy that's very overlooked, a guy that's one of the best defensive players of all time, in Gino Marchetti. He is one of the best defensive tackles, defensive line players of all time. He was, for a very long time, the D end. So moving him to D tackle is pretty much because I have another D end that's just too good for me not to put in. But Gino Marchetti, he's been the guy that's been able to be a tackle, so just put him out there and get him going. And he's a great defensive line. He'll figure it out. He's 11-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro for a reason. So I think Gino Marchetti, put him in there. He's won rings. Just put him in there. I think, honestly, him and Dwight Freeney already, as of right now, that's a problem for a lot of teams that's going to face this team. And I believe this is really, in my opinion, this is very, very exciting for me to see. Now, to have Gino Marchetti, I think you got to have Fred Miller as his duo, tag team kind of guy at the D tackle position, mainly because Fred Miller is a D tackle. He's been a D tackle for his entire career pretty much. And Gino, as much as he's fantastic, I think definitely practice-wise with Fred Miller, I think he can definitely teach him some things for Gino because, DN, D tackle, different formations, different ways to get past the line. So I think definitely Fred can definitely help him out. And Fred Miller is he was a part of some of the best defenses of all time. Again, Gino, Fred, they knew each other for sure. They were definitely in this era. So overall, I think they have a connection, and I think those two will work super well in terms of how this line is supposed to be built in terms of all-time wise. I think this is a pretty good line as, so far. Now, you got Dwight Freeney, and imagine putting Robert Mathis as the other end. Those two together, they have played together, have wreaked a lot of havoc in terms of how defenses, how they form, and as well as how offenses are going to try to really prepare for these two. These two have always been right there. They've always made some sort of wreckage out there. They've always put the quarterback to be super nervous. I think they both are fantastic at what they're at defensive end. That's a big reason why I thought I'd rather have Robert Mathis at this position, because he's never really played the tackle. I think, to be quite honest, I think Gino would be a better fit for the D-tackle position, where Robert Mathis and Freeney, both of them can just dominate at will on the left and right end. So I think that in itself should be great. I mean, this is, like I said, Freeney, Mathis, both of them, they're multiple sack guys, so they'll get to the QB. I think that's going to be pretty fun to watch, and I think this D-line is definitely a great one. Now, I got 4 D-line, so that means I'm going to have 3 linebackers. I'm going with the 4-3 in this team as well. I've definitely had some teams 4-3, some teams 3-4. You'll definitely see this is the 4-3 defense. This will definitely be a 4-3 defense. Their D-line is just too strong to not put those 4 guys out there. And first, on the left side, inside-wise, John Chinnick definitely should be on this list. Pretty much linebacker that can intercept the ball. He's intercepted seven times before one season. Has the ability to recover some fumbles, so he's able to be, having a good kind of eye, a knack for where the ball's at all times. I think he's a great leader. He's definitely been a part of those great Baltimore defensive teams. So I think Don Chinnick would be a fantastic addition to this defense, and I think they should, in my opinion, be pretty good at the linebacker position. So I think Don Chinnick is kind of that real, like, role player kind of guy, like, really key, but not the face of it. I feel like he's fantastic and he gets overlooked, but at the same time, he is no Hall of Famer. He's no, like, star, so I think he'll definitely get some help with some of the linebackers, some of the defensive players that are already on this team that have Hall of Famers in them. Middle linebacker, they've had pretty good linebackers before. Gary Brackett's always been pretty good, and Mike Curtis, Don Chinnick. Mike Curtis is the middle linebacker of this team. 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. He's been a Super Bowl champion. He's tough as nails. He's tough as they come. He's definitely a guy that's going to put it all there on the line, and he's going to be hard-hitting. And I think you need that. You need some toughness. You need some guy with a fearless mentality that's going to get it done, and not afraid to get hit, not afraid to hit people. I think that's it's an intangible thing. It's really good. Try to scare off your opponents in a way and play with their mentality. I really do believe Mike Curtis is a perfect guy out there. Definitely the general of the field. I think him working alongside with Freeney, Mathis, and having Gino and stuff, I think that's pretty good communication. I can definitely see this team being really super studly on defense. So on the right side, inside linebacker wise, it's got to be Dwayne Bickett. I think that guy in itself should be the other guy, right to Chinnick and right to Mike Curtis. Overall, this is fantastic. I do believe that this defense overall will be, like I said, pretty good. I think all-time will be pretty good. That's why I'm a little bit biased. I like all these different teams that I put together that I think are going to work, but it's kind of up to you guys what you think of how far they can go. But Dwayne Bickett is a guy that this is what he brings to the linebacker position. First of all, he's a tackling machine, and he can sack. He's really good at sacking. He's really good at forcing fumbles. He's really good at, honestly, he's really good at fumble recoveries. He's really good at kind of being that guy that's aware of what's going on, but also wreaking havoc by being that guy, that other guy to kind of get to the QB, and I think that's what they need. I think Mathis, Freeney, they get covered up. You got Dwayne Bickett right there to worry about that can also sack the QB. So I think having him is super, super dynamic kind of defense. Chinnick, Curtis, they're more of, I'm in the box, I'm ready to just destroy someone, and they're good at it. I think they can definitely get to the QB, but Dwayne Bickett is definitely the best at getting to the QB out of these three. So I think pretty dynamic defense right now. Cornerback, Bobby Boyd. You got to put this guy on this list, especially because of his impact of the 60s defensive teams, being a guy that actually, you're looking at a guy that has intercepted multiple times in years, 7 interceptions. He's done back-to-back 9 interception seasons. He's done 8 interceptions. He is a guy that, yes, he's going to be there. He's a ball hawk, and I think it's pretty good to have this kind of secondary that is not afraid to get after it, is not afraid to try to, go after the ball. I think that's what you need. You need a very tough defense, a very resilient defense if you want to win, but also if you want to be successful in this all-time kind of fantasy-esque kind of league, So, in my opinion, Bobby Boyd, they're one of the best corners of all time, I think. Colts-wise, one of the best. So, be with the best. Free safety, Rick Volk. So, pretty much, free safety, Rick Volk. You need a secondary. You need, to be successful. And you already have a ball hawk in Bobby Boyd that can definitely pick it off. This is another guy that can pick it off. Played free safety for a bit. Actually, pretty much his entire career was a part of fantastic defenses of Baltimore. A guy that can definitely have multiple interceptions in the season. A guy that can do what he can to really cover the field and be a pretty good presence out there in the secondary. I think he brings some leadership to there. I think he brings experience, and I really believe that his voice is pretty big in the secondary. Bobby Boyd, and having right now Volk in here, pretty good start to the secondary. Now, strong safety will be Antoine Bethea, and I think that's pretty fitting of where he was for the most part. Indianapolis, you're looking at a free safety kind of guy, but switched through safety, free safety, strong safety. I think you could transition Antoine Bethea easily to strong safety, and he'll do the exact same thing. He'll impact the defense. He'll be fantastic as just an overall defender that can bat balls down, that can get interceptions when he's needed, that can tackle, most importantly, really good tackler. He's able to force fumbles. I think this is an addition of what you need. I think you need a good strong safety. You need a good defensive back for sure. You need a good secondary, and every position is definitely key. Literally, you need to make sure that every single position is filled to the best of your ability, because to win, you need to have every position. In a way, they have to be pretty good at what they do. You can't just win with a great D-line, a great linebacker, and then one side of the field, the corner's not that great. That would kind of ruin everything, that connection. And I think that can lose games at times. You need players that can play. So it's good to wrap up on guys all-time wise, and I think Antoine Bethea definitely, will be a great partner to Volk. So now the other corner will be Eugene Daniel. I think Eugene Daniel brings really good aspect to this defense. Back in the 80s, he was a really good corner, a guy that can really get after it and can pick off the ball, Great tackler, which is what you need. You need a good tackler at secondary, honestly. You need a guy that can, be there. And he can do everything, a little bit of everything. I think Eugene Daniel definitely deserves the credit where it's due, is that he should be on this list. I think Bobby Boyd and Eugene Daniel, they fit well together. They play pretty much the same style of football for the most part. And I just think he'll be a successful year in terms of this defense-wise of the Indianapolis Colts. Special teams, very important thing, and you got to have kicker Adam Vinatieri out there. He's going to probably be there on multiple teams. He's played in two, New England and Indianapolis, so you'll probably see him on the New England Patriots kicker, but you'll see. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But overall, looking at really what he's got, and it's fantastic. Vinatieri, overall, what else can I say? He's a guy that gets it done. He's going to make the kicks. He's been playing forever. He's like 45, I believe, right now, still in the NFL. And he's still automatic. He's still a guy that's going to get it done, that's going to kick, field goals that are 50-plus yarders and nail them like he was just like a rookie. Really, he is a never-ending, aging kind of kicker, and I think, he is definitely a Hall of Famer. Definitely a Hall of Famer. He's going to pass all-time in scoring and all-time field goals. I believe in that. I believe in him. I really believe it's his time. I think he'll pass Morten Anderson, and he should be in the Hall of Fame. He just deserves it because he made every kick count, and he's a big reason Tom Brady has won some Super Bowls. So, my opinion, Tom, you should probably appreciate him because as much as you're fantastic, you're a part of maybe 2 or 3, possibly just 2 Super Bowls of just you winning it. To be quite honest with you, like if you didn't have much help in there, lucky plays, some lucky calls that should have went back. Honestly, you could have been talking about someone else. You couldn't have been talking about Tom Brady in that regard. But I'm not disrespecting the guy. I think he's a fantastic career for sure. I'm just saying Adam Vinatieri has definitely shaped his legacy in a bit, and people do not seem to remember that. They seem to just forgive him, and they seem to kind of think that it was all Tom, when in reality you got to look back in the game. It was a team effort, like every other quarterback, like every other player. It's a team effort. So punter, Pat McAfee. You got to put Pat McAfee as your punter. He's definitely, not only has it been a goofball, and he's been just a great inspiration in terms of being yourself, a guy that, loves what he does and is just having a great time, is making jokes. I mean, he's fantastic. He's also a productive guy. He's throughout his career making key punts, being a guy that averaged his entire career 46.4 average punt return, kind of yardage wise. That's fantastic. He was able to have just 4 of them were blocked. I mean, that's not bad at all. The fact that he was able to have over 20,000 punt yards, the fact that his longest one was 74, he has a leg. So I think he'll definitely pin him down deep in spots, all the time. In my honest opinion, he'll be one of those key guys. And you just gotta appreciate this guy. Retiring, he's retired and all, but he enjoys himself. I think he'll definitely bring, as well as a great vibe, a great energy to a rather serious football team. So I think that's pretty good. I really enjoy Pat McAfee's influence into this team, as well as he's a good punter. So, return man, Terrence Wilkins, hell yeah. I think he should be the return guy. Honestly, it's not that easy to find return men in terms of where I should put him. Should I put him at this position? Because return men, I don't really focus much on returners. I really don't put much attention to him. So if he's the wrong guy, let me know. If you think that's a terrible pick for me to put, let me know. Because like I said, I'm not a guy that would honestly put so much effort into seeing a returner. I look at the numbers, I see, okay, he's done pretty good, and I just kind of go along with him. I'm a little bit smart with that as well. I'm not going to just randomly just pick him. I got to see, well, what has he also done, And I think, Terrence Wilkins, in my opinion, would be a pretty good return man for this team, being a part of the team for about 5 years, and was able to have 119 punt returns, and he had 3 punt return touchdowns, over 1,000 punt return yards. Kick returns, he had 176 of those for over 4,000. He had a punt or kick return touchdown. Average punt return yardage was like 8.9 yards from him receiving it to running it, and kick return was about 22.8. So overall, his approximate values. He's a valuable guy. He was a valuable asset. He was able to, return punt kicks as well in the playoffs. The 3 times he was there with Indianapolis. And he's also a pretty good receiver. He's had seasons where he's had 40-plus receptions. He's had, more than just 1 receiving touchdown for sure. And they've given him the ball 1 time, 1 or 2, 3 times. Not bad at running it. Definitely more of a receiver, though. I think, honestly, you got to put this guy on this game, on this list. I think Peyton definitely will use him. Definitely won't lose him. He'll definitely use him in a good way. I think not just a punt returner. I think they'll definitely have plays where they'll take a Raymond Berry out, or they'll take a Reggie Wayne, and they'll go along with Terrence Wilkins. And he's a fast dude, so I believe that he would be pretty impactful to this team. The coach, it's got to be Tony Dungy. The guy will be the Colts coach for all time, frankly, because he did make this place into a very entertaining football town. But he's also made different teams feel that way. He's been a great defensive coordinator. He's been great to the game. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. His calm demeanor, his, really never really a guy that would kind of insult you. He just seems like that kind of guy. He seems like that guy that would just talk to you. He'd get mad, maybe a little frustrated, but at least he'd talk to you about, okay, you know what, we just got to do this better. Come on, guys, let's try to get our heads up. And I think that's, it's a great demeanor to have. For some players it doesn't work. For me, I think the players will vibe to it. I think the players will think, I think Mike Curtis and those guys might be a little bit, why aren't you tougher on us? I think he's going to loosen them up. I think he's definitely going to loosen them up. Feel like, they don't have to, be so serious, be so tense about we got to win. More like, let's just go and have fun. I think Tony Dungy is a pretty good coach to have. And also, it helps when you've won a Super Bowl as well and, really have had multiple winning seasons. Overall, before he was a Colt, he was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He changed that team. He went in there in 96, had a 6-10 record, and he went out of there with pretty much, they were on their way to winning the Super Bowl. They were already starting to have a dynamic defense. Dungy knows about defenses. He's pretty smart dude. And, went into 2002, and ever since then, has gotten them a winning season every single year as a part of a Colt. So he was never that guy that, let him down. Honestly, they were always in the hunt for the Super Bowl ever since he was there. From 2002 to 2008, he had winning record every single year for the Indianapolis Colts. So in my opinion, it's kind of sad. I think, in my opinion, they should have been Super Bowl champions way before 2006. I believe they should have been Super Bowl champs. In my honest opinion, they should have had at least 2 or 3 under Dungy. But, Pats were there. Peyton definitely didn't perform that well during the playoffs at some times. So, defenses weren't, ecstatically, unbelievable like this all-time team is. But Dungy was able to lead them to great places, and I think Dungy should have a lot of recognition for his entire coaching career and his entire football career. And I think his presence on this team matters because he's going to loosen them up, and I think this team will excel under Dungy.